where I take apart extremely popular team that's appearing a lot on both Showdown and in-game ladder and in the tournaments as well. I take apart a team, look into the matchups, look into the team composition and their EV spreads and movesets, and then I take to the Google Slides presentation where I talk about their matchups against the most of the metagame, like top 10 teams that are common as well. So you know if you are user of the team, how to play against them, or if you're against the team, how are they probably going to play against you. So without further ado, let's get straight up into it. So we look at the team, and you've probably seen this quite a few times, right? It's standard Sand, and the composition almost never changes. It almost never does. And the movesets rarely change as well. Yeah, look at this. This is pretty standard stuff, but let's get over it for a few seconds, and then we're probably going to move into the Google Slides presentation, because the movesets are pretty self-explanatory. So basically, look at the Excadrill. Well, one thing that's missing is the possible Rock Slide, and that's because the Excadrill likes to run Swords Dance. Basically, the idea is some teams do not deal with Swords Dance too well. You got Redirection in Amoonguss, or possible Togekiss to boost the speed, and most of the time, turn 1, you either go for the Earthquake, Iron Head, or Swords Dance. What do I want to talk about here? I have the pinpoint that. So basically you can set up and then switch to turn and sweep the team. But most of the time, from what I've seen leads with actual Excadrill plus Togekiss. Turn 1. Oh yeah, this can be protect or not. It just... the Togekiss can have flamethrower to protect. Or follow me. It's rather random what the Togekiss has. But if it has follow me, there is very high chance opponent will go for Swords Dance and then crush you with either the spread attack or they dynamax increase the defenses. That's mostly the idea with Excadrill. If the Togekiss doesn't have follow me, which I've seen quite a few times, they will most likely just go for dynamax and go for max quakes and steel spikes. It really depends on if the format is hello Dixie. The format is open team sheet or closed team sheet. If I would have seen Amoonguss Excadrill and you led with passive lead, they're gonna go for Swords Dance and punish it. That's basically the idea. Punish passive leads. So let's get into Tyranitar. This is very standard moveset, but I would highly recommend this EV spread. Basically what it does is it takes close combat from Jolly Urshifu, and it can retaliate back with superpower, which can be super useful time to time. And like the attack of Tyranitar is just so high anyways, that it really doesn't care about just having these few EVs taken from the attack. It still hits like a truck. Unfortunately, the team I prepared today has more generic EV spread, since I didn't bother EVing like that in the game. But if you yet do not have bread or EV spreaded your Tyranitar in game, I would highly recommend running this spread. It really saves games. And let's get into the Amoonguss. That Pokemon is the heart of the team. Without Amoonguss, this team, I would highly doubt would work so well. Basically, it spores a lot, it redirects when it's supposed to be annoying. And with Coba Berry, it's ridiculously annoying to take care of. And it always runs Coba Berry, so if you're running like fire moves, ice moves, whatever other moves, they are always running Coba Berry, and it's always the correct and most annoying item on Amoonguss. They are always running it, and I've played like a few test games in game, and not a single person predicted Coba Berry Amoonguss. They always scanned on max airstream plus stab attack to knock it out, but Amoonguss always has Coba Berry, and I was very confused why opponent thought I wouldn't have it. But always scan on Amoonguss having Coba Berry. It's just ridiculous item. There are a lot of max airstream teams that rely on max airstream to remove the grass types like Venusaur and Amoonguss, and this just stops them, spores them, and when Dynamax is put to sleep, it's pretty much over. Now the Rage Powder is to redirect attacks, synergize as well with Excadrill, as I've explained earlier. And I would mostly choose Sludge Bomb because it wins the Amoonguss mirrors, and mirrors are bound to happen if you're going into the tournament. So Having Sludge Bomb also hitting like fire types like Incineroar, Torkoal, and hitting Amoonguss neutral is pretty good. Now the EV spread is pretty basic. Basically, Amoonguss takes what it needs to take with Copper Berry and doesn't take much else. So basically, I invested in the special defense to get a breakpoint here. You see, I get 2 extra points in the special defense. This is what the distribution Amoonguss uses as well, right? So it has like extra point in special defense. And it's pretty useful. You get a lot of special bulk out of this, and I have valued special bulk much more than physical bulk in my testing games, so... And it's like so bulky, it probably takes Flare Blitz from Incineroar anyways, so... look at it, high HP, it's ridiculous, so... Yeah, that's about Amoonguss. Now, Togekiss is there for one reason. Well, you could guess that the Incineroar could deal with Steel types pretty well, but... if you're gonna go up against Corviknight or a Furthorn with like earning defense, Incineroar is not gonna be able to deal with it. It's not. So basically Togekiss is there for additional like counteraction for Rain and Sun, because it can Dynamax well against these and punish their Flying type weak Pokemon or Fairy type weak Pokemon in Rain team with Kingdra. But the other purpose is to have a special fire type attack. It's extremely useful. Again, I'm gonna reference to my testing games. Today, early in the morning, I tried playing against a Corviknight with Iron Defense. And yeah, without Flamethrower or Heatwave on Togekiss, I would have been screwed. And it's really there for just to remove this possible counteraction from the team. A lot of people rely on Furthorn or Corviknight to deal with this team, and Togekiss is annoying in the fact that it just stops that counteraction from working. Yeah, this spread is... Yeah, it gets breakpoints on the special attack, it outspeeds as many Togekisses as possible. I am pretty sure it outspeeds Cinderace after +1, which is pretty good, I guess. But I've seen some Togekisses run like 252 speed, Timid with 252 special attack, which is what I have in game. And I think it works well as well. Yeah, this is standard Incineroar as much as it gets. This Incineroar takes Max Quake from Life Orb Modest Venusaur, which is pretty important nowadays. It gets Breakpoint again in attacking stat, and like, because like Durant is so rare nowadays, I didn't care to invest into defense. I could invest in defense to take like Durant's Max Quake with Life Orb as well. But I think having more speed just wins more speed ties, and that's the important part nowadays. Durant is pretty rare. Pretty rare. And last but not least, Dragapult. Dragapult. This member of the team is mostly there for matchups you don't have plans against. Let me explain. Basically, you're going to look at the Google Slides presentation, and I did not bring Dragapult to either of these teams, yet I brought Dragapult into my testing games a lot. It really is like blanks a lot of teams that are not very prepared against it, and then you just leave it with Amoonguss, and a lot of teams just don't have answer against this. It's with Amoonguss plus Dragapult, it's basically the combination to deal with the teams you don't know how to deal with. And if opponent doesn't know how to deal with your team, they are probably going to lead with Dragapult. If you do not have like super panzers to it like Lapras, they're definitely going to lead with this. So yeah, that's basically the role of Dragapult. Yeah, Fly, Dragon Dart, Phantom Force, pretty normal moveset. So we talked about this, now let's get into the Google Slides presentation. So let me just switch to that. Present. Hopefully I do not have typos in this presentation. I would be pretty mad about this. Like basically sometimes I just like... Oh yeah. Yeah, this is perfect. Basically... With the hours per repair. What is HP? Just tell me. I'm gonna respond to you. Basically the idea is that sometimes I just... don't remove the title from previous presentation because I'm just copy-pasting the presentation and then changing the game plan. Sometimes I just forget to remove some of these things, so bear in mind, I'm gonna probably fix that if I see anything now. So anyways, let's get into this presentation real quick, and then we're gonna go into the games. So how does this work again? Luigi's Wide Ray, hello. Oh goodness, cool. So basically what happened is the presentation moved, but not but the but the screen is still showing the first page, which I'm not sure how to fix. Let me try to do this. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Let me try exiting that. I just exited, but the screen is still showing the presentation, so I'm gonna try to make and fix this on the... I did not have Discord yet. I did not plan towards that. Anyways, let me try to fix this real quick. I'm gonna be right back to you. I think I know how to fix that. I'm going real quick. Yeah. I searched for some stuff, but this should work now. Yeah, perfect. But you don't see me now. Neither do you see the chat. So let me do that. Perfect. We're set. Sorry for the small interruption. Yeah, these are some basic information. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the substitutes for the team, but basically this team usually runs these 6 and doesn't run anything else. There are some additional options like Sinrace, Dracovish, but I think they're a bit suboptimal compared to this big 6 that this team has, basically. So yeah, fantastic. So basically, against this team likes to lead with passive leads, right? The Primarina Porygon 2 tries to combat that, but basically, you're going to pick your poison play. Either you get, like, Porygon 2 needs to set up Trick Room, or it doesn't, because you have the Amoonguss, so basically, Porygon 2 will have to go on offense, so will Primarina. So basically what you do is you force out a pick your poison play. Either they go for the KO on Excadrill, with Max Geyser plus Ice Beam, or they go for Ice Beam plus Max Starfall to stop the spores. In which case, you just get a free Sport Sense up and then you probably reverse sweep it, Rage Powder, Incineroar, Fake Outs. So basically, by just virtue of that, like, pick your poison play, you're gonna be able to win this against Porygon 2. Now against Cinderace Bisharp, it's just switch to T-Tor and kill the Cinderace. I don't think there's much of a possible combat against that. Like, opponent doesn't have too many options outside of that. They just die. It's pretty suboptimal to lead with Cinderace against this team, after all. Porygon Z, good stuff. Now, this is one of the few teams that has actual positive matchup against Porygon Z. The idea basically is that you get max Quake boosts against Porygon Z, then you switch to T-Tor, get a Sand up, get even more special defense on Tyranitar, set up a speed advantage for the max strikes for the Excadrill, Sand Rush and -1 speed, you still outspeed opponent. And then you just bulk up so much on the special defense side, Porygon Z plus Clefairy won't be able to break through you. And if opponent won't be able to break through you, Porygon Z will become dead meat, and if it won't be able to break through the first 2 Pokemon, Porygon Z is gonna be useless. So basically that's the idea, just boost up the special defenses. And against Porygon Z Talonflame, you just go for Rock Slide to carry the Talonflame and remove the speed advantage. Like, it won't remove the Talon possibility, but you will be able to KO it at least, to prevent some kind of Flare Blitzes, Will-O-Wisps. You just finish off Porygon Z, and then the Incineroar and Togekiss has superior matchup in the back, because the team really just stacks up the Fairy and Flying weaknesses. Mostly they got like Dracovish, they got Urshifu, Rillaboom. So yeah, with Intimidate and Togekiss, you should be fine in the back. Against Slope Size Spam, you just want to KO the Venusaur as soon as possible against Venusaur Torkoal. Unfortunately, normally you would lead with something like Tyranitar plus Amoonguss, but it's just not such a good possibility to go up against. Wait a minute, Snarl? Sorry about that. So talking about Snarl in his game plan, so... Oh. Yeah, I think you can win against this even against Hatterene plus Indeedee, even without Snarl. Basically, you just are so bulky and you just go for Darkest Lariat. Yeah, he Darkest Lariat the Indeedee twice, and then... I don't know, sorry about that. You go for Darkest Lariat, turn 1 to damage the Indeedee, switch to T-Turn. Next turn, finish off the Indeedee with Tornador and Parting Shot the Hatterini for easy one. I think that's the game plan against this if you do not have Snarls, so sort of ban that. And against Venusaur Torkoal, you just want to KO Venusaur as soon as possible. Sun Boost allows you to do that. And because of the special defensive investment on Incineroar, you're gonna take life for minus max quick, so you should be able to easily one-shot back. This matchup, this team is a bit awkward now, because I haven't seen it in a long time, but you got a game plan here anyways. Fast sighting, size spam. This is basically reserved for these Terra Code stuffs. So, yeah, you just go for max Spike Bite Spore into Drac on turn 1. You got Focus Sash on Excadrill to take the additional max fighting. And you KO Draken or just... I've seen Focus Sash Drakions on this kind of teams, which made me confusing and like the heck out of me, but basically they either won't survive max Steel Spike or they will just get spored, so it's pick your poison again. And again, like Excadrill plus Special Defense Beasts are pretty brutal against the kind of size spam reliant team, especially if you have T-Turn in the back. Just make sure you just watch out for Dracovish in this matchup, and Alakazam Indeedee just kind of wins with Excadrill T-Turn. The Special Defense Beasts are way too brutal for that archetype. Standard Sand, oh boy, the mirror matchups are always fun, but basically the idea is remove Amoonguss as soon as possible and then let your Amoonguss just destroy the opponent's team with sleep. That's basically what I talk about in all 3 game plans here. Wait a minute. I can't remove the chair from the text, sorry about that. But basically I talk about the game plans here. You always want to remove Amoonguss as a first priority, so opponent won't put you to sleep. And then you go for spores to sleep to put opponent's team to sleep. It's basically like that. And you got Excadrill plus Incineroar in the back to possibly deal with the other threats opponent got. Yeah, the only exception is against Togekiss. I mean Excadrill plus Togekiss. But you just again go for max airstreams and just put spores everywhere. You got the Cobbleberry Berry anyways for if opponent Togekiss decides to Dynamax, you got Cobbleberry Berry as well, so I mean they can max flare again, but you go for max airstream, you get the speed boost. Yeah, but yeah, basically that's the game plan against the Excadrill Togekiss. The Google Start presentation will be linked in YouTube later, so you can read through that, but this is basically the game plan. Against Standard Sun, just against Venusaur Charizard, you do not want to Dynamax Tornador, which is where a lot of people make mistakes. Basically, after 2 max airstreams, you get the speed advantage over the Charizard with your Tornador, and you just go for 2 max airstreams and outspeed Charizard and KO it. Yeah, again, Venusaur is priority number 1 to deal with, then you deal with Charizard. Against the Tornador Togekiss, if you got a Follow Me variant of this team, you can just KO the Togekiss and then just well, basically opponent will have the Bulldoze to deal with a Tornador, but you got Follow Me Redirection for your Tornador against the well, that's actually I talk about some different combination here. But anyways, either if it's Dusclops plus Togekiss or Tornador plus Togekiss, you always just want to deal with the Togekiss as soon as possible and then try to go for redirections. You got Amoonguss for additional redirection, so like basically they can't bulldoze very freely. They will have to ally switch at 1 point, and basically the idea is they will bulldoze. I'm just talking in circles. What do I want to say? Yeah, basically if they want to set up Trick Room, they'll have to redirect the attack. After that, they'll switch to Tornador, but you got protection for Tornador, but Follow Me. So they can't bulldoze you, because you will also get a boost and one-shot their Tornador back, but you got Follow Me redirection, so you won't get KO'd first. You will get your Togekiss will get KO'd, and then you go for Max Knuckle and KO their Tornador, which is why I say predict the possible ally switch if you see Togekiss plus Dusclops lead. So, because it's just so common, like, you get bulldoze, so they'll ally switch to try to throw you off. So, yeah, if they just go down to Togekiss though, you got additional redirection as well, so you will be able to just go for spores Oh yeah, if they go Tyranitar Togekiss, you knock out their Togekiss, you just switch to Amoonguss and spore spam opponents, so it's kind of funny. Against Hyper Offense Lapras, it's your basic bread and butter game plan. I have talked about this last week as well. So you basically protect with Amoonguss Tournament. Try to go for 2-hit on opponent's Lapras. If you get a 2-hit on opponent's Lapras, Instant Bust Togekiss cleans up the late game very easily. Yeah, again, do stack up with Dracoish with these Fairy and Flight Tip weaknesses in the back as well. So Togekiss plus Instant just cleans up. Hyper Offense Cinderace, you go for a Amoonguss plus Togekiss lead, and you basically follow me away the Max Fireball, and then you go for a Spore into Cinderace, and opponent is screwed. Just go for the X-Curl sweep after that. If you just can get a chance, get a Sports Sense up, but I wouldn't recommend that. Just go for the offense and just put more things to sleep. Basically follow me away Sport Tournament, and opponent is kinda screwed. Yeah, standard rain, yeah, you just have to get plus Amoonguss. That's very brutal for opponent. Although, opponent might try to just take care of your Togekiss as soon as possible, so their third Thorn in the back wins, but, basically your Togekiss plus Amoonguss is just invincible against this archetype. Like, they got their way to deal with Amoonguss is like flying type moves, which is not valid because you got Copper Berry on Amoonguss. So, yeah, they're kind of screwed. They're very screwed. And yeah, that's basically the game plan. Spore away, and yeah, just don't max Starfall prematurely. Just get your sleeps in and then one-shot the Kingdra. Kingdra shouldn't be too dangerous to you anyways, because of the Copper Berry and naturally high special defense of Togekiss. Now for the part of presentation I talk about counteractions. Now, if you can somewhat remove the possible threat of Togekiss, Corviknight should be easily able to overwhelm this team. Like easily, basically you steal Spike up and then opponent cannot hit you. The X-Riddle very rarely nowadays has Rock Slide, so it won't even be able to hit you very efficiently. But yeah, reminder as I've said here, Corviknight can't 41 the team, so just you have to remind yourself of being able to deal with Togekiss in late game. Togekiss will always wait for late game with its flamethrowers or heat waves, so watch out for that. But if you're gonna be able to deal with that, like with, I don't know, Iron Hat, powerful Iron Hats, you should be fine. Now Amoonguss is very annoying for this team as well. Basically, again, one of the few times where the team will have to rely on Togekiss to deal with it. If you can again annoy the Togekiss by some kind of virtue of stab, super effective move. I don't know, I've seen like Magnezones deal with this somewhat. Just max Steel Spike in the Togekiss. If you can just deal with the Max Flare, which is only way for team to remove Amoonguss, you should be pretty fine to deal with your own Amoonguss. Now with Gyarados is one of the few Pokemon I just will probably make video later this week on, because Gyarados is amazing. Gyarados, when intimidate, stops a lot of possible Tyranitar X-Girl sweeps. If it got Safety Goggles or Lumber, it deals with the Amoonguss excellently. It also annoys Incineroar a lot, and if you just like a sweeper, they can go for Moxie Sweep in late game. If you can basically hold on the lead with their Dynamax, and you're not too passive to not fall for the possible Sword Sense from X-Kernel, late game Moxie Gyarados is absolutely amazing. One of the few counteractions this team has against it is Dragapult, so just make sure you got that guy checked, and you should be able to go on pretty easy Gyarados sweep. And now more counteractions. Rotom-Wash has been one of the few things I was looking at when I was testing it for Players Cup Finals, and I think it does the job pretty well. Basically, it's again kind of immunite to X-Girl. It doesn't really care about Tyranitar too much, because with the Intimidate support. It can also just completely nuke the Togekiss, hack out the Togekiss with Max Lightning. So basically the idea is get a Nasty Plot off, keep Amoonguss in check, and then Rotom-Wash should be able to just bluff kind of impressive sweep. It can even get Max Darkness for the opponent's Dragapult if you really care about Dragapult mode that much. So yeah, I think Rotom-Wash does a pretty good job at that. Now another possible counteraction for this team is Burning Dragapult X-Girl or Tyranitar. Double Intimidating works as well, but basically Burning is just a better way to deal with this. I've not seen too many Will-O-Wisps to two like Drillwisp are kind of scarce in the current metagame, but now they are. Now you got Rotom, Dusclops, Inter, Arcanine as a possible Will-O-Wisp. So if you really hate one of these Pokemon that much, I would probably recommend Will-O-Wisping. Also, Burning Jaws is a good idea since Excadrill has 3 Beasting moves on his moveset, so you can probably just burn that very easily. And burn its ally as well, because maybe they max Quick Max Steel Spike. Also, you can, if you can manage Dragapult to force into max Airstream, you will be golden as well. And now Duraludon plus a lot of Intimidates is one of my favorite counteractions for this, since Duraludon, if you have Weakness Plus, will probably force Max Quake into itself. And if you can get Max Quake off against itself, you get a Weakness Plus beast, then you will be able to trash this team kinda. Like, Togekiss doesn't do too well against it. If it gets +2, neither does Amoonguss. If you can set up Max Lightning to remove the spores as well. Dragapult doesn't do well against it. If you don't proc Weakness Plus on Tyranitar is useless against it. Also, it's sort of can parting shot, but if you got like Body Press in for possible late game sweeping, you're gonna be even better. If you have Body Press on Duraludon, it's really good counteraction for it, especially with Weakness Plus. But don't forget to pair like at least 2 Intimidates for the possible to stop the possible external threat for the Duraludon. So yeah, that's about it for the tutorial part of the video. So I'll be posting that on YouTube later, so if you just missed something. And let's get into the battles now, so stream is not too bored at this moment. So let's just get into that.